Good morning, it's Jody from RJet Creations. I haven't been online for a long time, but I thought I'd pop on today and make a pocket flip. So I'm going to be using my 2021 Christmas digital kit that is now currently available at my shop. So before we get started, I just thought I'd give you a quick run through of what's in the kit. It has 5 tear pages, 1 page of tags, and 1 page of pockets. So I'll just do a quick flip through and then we will get going on today's project. This is the tags. I've printed these out on cardstock. The other pages I've just printed on regular copy paper. And then here's your pockets and just a little couple of embellishments. These I also printed on cardstock for a future project. Okay, so now that we've done a quick flip through of that, I'm going to get on with the project. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making a pocket flip. I'll just pretend that this is a journal page and I'll show you what we're going to do. We are going to make a pocket that fits pretty largely on the page. We're going to be putting in a hinge that's going to make it flip out, and we're going to be putting a pocket window in here. So we'll get started and then we'll see how far we get. So the first thing I've done is I've taken some cardstock that was a misprint, so it's just regular cardstock, and I've cut 2 pieces. Each piece measures 7.0 by 3.75 inches. So you can make it any size you want. That's just the size that I've chosen to do. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this in one of the papers because I want it to dry, because then I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. So we'll do this as the front, and we'll just get the papers over here and pick one that we would like to use. So let's see, what do we want? Keep in mind that the center portion of this is going to be cut out. I think I'm going to use this area here. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to flip my papers over. I'm actually going to use this section here. So we'll flip the paper over. I'll get some glue on here and then we'll glue it down. Okay, so I'm just using a regular glue stick here. I am going to be stitching, so I'm not too concerned. I need it to stick down, but it's going to have an additional method of sticking. If you're just using glue, then you want to glue this really well. Okay, now remember that there is about 1/4 of an inch border, so I'm just going to come in just a little bit just to make sure that we get everything covered, and I'm going to lay it down. Then I need my card, and I'm just going to flatten it out. And I like to flip it over and do this side as well. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to get my scissors out and I'm going to cut. Let's go down here. So I hope everyone is doing well today. I'm actually got a few days off work, so I'm spending my time in my craft room trying to get things organized. It's been a really long year for me. Busy at work. I work in a hospital, so it's busy. And I haven't had nearly enough the amount of time to craft that I would like to have. All right, so now that we've got that done, I'm going to bring in a couple of dies. So I have these 2 squares. I'll bring this up closer to the camera so you can see it. All right, so we have these 2 dies. I'm not sure what size they are, but both would fit on this. So I'm just going to choose one. I think I'll go with the bigger one actually. I think I'll cut it just about there. So I'm going to get just a tiny bit of washi tape. And I'm just going to stick it on my hand, just take some of the stickiness off. And I'm just going to tape it down to get it in the right area. Just to hold it just a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to put that off to the side, let it dry for a minute, and then we will cut that out. In the meantime, I don't want the back of my pocket to be plain because we're going to put in a cellophane window, just like this. So we want something pretty in the background. So I'm going to take my sheet of paper here, and I'm going to cover this as well. So I think I'll just continue on with that area. If I do this, I think I'm going to be cutting off Santa, so I think I'll do it up at the top here. So I'm going to glue here. So again, I'm going to just grab my glue, and I'm going to cover the whole piece. I'm just gluing off the side here. So I'm early for Christmas this year. Usually I'm really late doing it, and I've been late doing absolutely everything else this year. So I thought I may as well get on with Christmas. So that's why I chose to start it. I'm just going to check to make sure my paper, I want to go here. So we'll see how well it goes. All right. So again, I'm going to smooth it out. Flip it over and do the same on the other side just to get it nice and flat. And then I'm going to cut this portion out. You could use an envelope for this. I have done it that way before, and it works fine. You just have to kind of piece their pieces together, more like collage. But I wanted something just a little bit thicker and a little bit more stable this time. So that's why I'm using the cardstock. And I'm gonna keep these little portions for collage later. These ones can go in the garbage. All right, so that's going to be the back of our pocket. So you won't see most of that because the other piece is going to go on top. Now, before we get too much farther, we do want to put in our little hinge. We want to have it here so that when we sew, we're going to sew down here. So you'll notice that I've made it just a tad shorter than the piece of paper, and I've mitered the edges just so that you can't see it. And I'm going to take, I think I'll take my tacky glue for this. And I'm just going to put a little bit on. You do want to get it along the inside edge so that your tag doesn't get caught on it. But again, for securing purposes, I'm going to be sewing so it will hold. Just going to spread the glue out a little bit. And there's my Kleenex. Then we're going to glue it down. Now I want it this way. Okay, so put it on your sheet of paper, just like that. Then you can take your bone folder. So now the envelope will flip out. When you're done on the page. This piece is going to go on top. So now, while that's drying, we can cover this with another sheet of paper. You can go with more of your collage papers, or you can simply go with a piece of coffee stain paper. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to hop up and grab some. Actually, we're going to use this. So I'm just going to glue that in there so that when it flips open, you have some writing space. So to do that, I'm just going to bring over my glue book. And I'm going to cover this area in glue. You don't want to get it on your flap. And you're going to cover the whole area. Line it up straight. And then you can take your credit card or whatever you use to spread your glue. This is just a piece of paper from a pad that I had that I took apart. So again, I'll save these edges for use in other projects. I really like the ones with the holes along here. It adds lots of interest. All right. Okay, so now I think we're ready to get the top part done. So I'm really quickly going to just run that through my Big Shot. Okay. Sorry guys, it's off screen. I just don't have enough room to have it on. Okay. All right. So now we can carefully take off the washi tape and the frame. Now keep this because you can make a cute journaling card with this. So put that aside. And now we have our window. So you see how that's going to go on top? Just like that. Okay, so then our next thing we have to do is we're gonna put the acetate window in. To do that, again, I'm gonna sew. If you're not gonna sew, you're gonna want to do this part very, very carefully. But I'm just gonna put some of my Fabri-Tac just to glue this down to hold it in place while we're sewing. You want to get it around the edges, but you don't want to have too much that it's going to ooze out and mark your acetate. Okay. Then you can just lay that on. Give it a good squish. Wipe off any excess glue. Just like that. Okay. So there's our window. We're going to give that a minute to dry, and then we're going to ink, and then we'll start the stitching. So in the meantime, we'll set that aside, and then we're going to pick one of our tags. So here's the tags. I think I'm going to use this one. So we're just going to cut that out and get started creating this part. So these tags measure, I think they're 3 by 6.5. I'll measure them in just a sec. And when you're printing these out, you can print them out this side, which gives you 3 tags, or you can print 2 pages per sheet, which will give you 6 of the little mini tags. I quite like that size. I use them quite often. But in a project like this, I do like the bigger ones. So let me find my ruler. So yes, just shy of 6.5 by 3. For anyone who's interested. Now, because I'm doing more of a journal card than I am a tag, I think I'm going to actually cut this straight along the edge here. See how straight I can do it without my paper cutter. All right. I might even round the edges. So that'll fit in there like that. It is just a tad bit shy, so I'm thinking that I might add a little bit of a border around it. So let me just pop up, let me see what I can find. I have some black here, maybe some black. Let's see what the black looks like. I'm gonna try it with the black. So I'm just gonna grab my paper cutter here, bring it over, and we'll cut this. Let's try it 3.5. 3.5 by, here's my tag. By 6.5. Let's see. Okay, so that works for me. So I'm going to grab my corner rounder, and I am going to round my corners. I'm going to use a 1/4 of an inch side. And I'm just going to round all 4. And I'm going to do the same on this matting that we've created. All right, let's see how that looks. Make sure we get that up the right way. Okay, I'm okay with that, so we're going to do that. Again, I'm going to be sewing this, so I'm just going to use my glue stick, and I'm going to lay this on here. Actually, before I do that, I should ink the edges. Now I'm going to get my hands all sticky because I've got glue on the back. Dangers of crafting. Glue everywhere. Yesterday I was working on a little golden book, The Christmas Story, and I was using my sprays and I was covered in blue spray. So I'm sure you guys are the same. I haven't seen a crafter yet that's doesn't either have a mess on their table or inky hands, or it's a side effect of the crafting, I guess. Alrighty, so let's get this on here. I'm going to try and center this as best as I can. It should be about equal all the way around because we did a 1/2 inch border. So it should be about 1/4 inch on each side. There. And I think that's going to fit in there a little bit better. Perfect. All right. So while I'm got the ink out, I'm going to ink this up to give it some finishing. Now, before we sew this pocket together, because it's going to be a pocket on the right hand side, you're going to want, if you're stitching, you're going to want to stitch down this side first and then put the pieces together and stitch the rest of it together. Otherwise, you're going to seal your pocket. And I know it seems self-explanatory, but I think we've all had those errors before where we've stitched our pockets. So before I get any further, I am going to do that. I'm going to just bring in my sewing machine just a touch. Make sure it's turned on. I have black thread in my sewing machine, so I'm just going to use that. And I'm going to do a zigzag. So hopefully this won't shake you too much. Just going to go down this edge with a zigzag. That is more for decoration. And I said it's a zigzag, but it's not a zigzag. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it looks kind of cool. So we'll leave it. And the other thing you want to do, I'm going to do this on a straight stitch, is stitch around your window. So we're going to do that here. I'm just doing a straight stitch. This will hold the acetate in place. And I should have made my stitches longer, but I didn't. I'm hoping that it should be okay. And I say that and it gets jammed up. So let's do some repairs here. I think this black thread is old. It doesn't like to, sometimes gives me grief. All right, so get some of these threads cleaned up. And we will go from there. So I'm going to see what's going on here. Need to rethread my needle. All right. So I'm just gonna backstitch down this, actually I won't backstitch, I'll just come back here a little bit. And then just continue. Hopefully it won't jam up again. The sewing machine's been working great for me, and of course as soon as you turn on the camera, you get issues. Just gonna go around this corner a little bit. Alrighty. I'm going to turn that back to zigzag so I don't forget when we do the next portion. Okay. Alrighty. Let's clean this up just a little bit. If anyone knows why my sewing machine is doing that on zigzag with this thread, let me know. I'd love to know. I have no idea. I'm not a sewer. And when my machine does stuff like that, I'm really not sure why. All right, so now we have that stitched. Just to make it easier for myself for sewing, I'm going to now just put a bead of glue around the outside here. And it'll hold it. Before I do that, because this is really, really white, I'm going to make sure that I ink this as well. And I'll probably ink here too. Open up my ink. Alrighty. Okay, perfect. All right, so now just gonna use just a little bit of my glue. Like I said, you don't wanna glue down this side, so just down this side. And if you're good with a sewing machine and can hold it together and do it, then by all means do that. I'm not that good. Okay. All right. So there you have your pocket. We're just going to set that aside for a minute, let that dry, and we'll bring back in our tag. Now, I wanted this to be able to be written on the back, and now that I put that black on there, I can. So I'm going to grab another piece of paper, like the one we just did, and I'm going to glue it on there so that we have a writable surface on the back. So I'm just going to glue it. Actually, I need to get my glue book out or I'm gonna have a sticky surface. All these ladies and men that can craft so quick, We're already at half an hour and I don't have a finished project yet. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm really jealous because it takes me forever to do these projects. Okay, so I'm just gonna glue this down. I'm gonna glue it as close to the bottom as I can so I don't waste my paper. And again, I'll get my card out. There, so now we'll be able to write on the back of this tag. So I'm just gonna quickly cut that out. And I'll get my corner rounder out. Make sure that those corners are rounded off. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to round those off just quickly. I got a little bit of white showing there. Alrighty. Okay. I'm going to just ink up the back here. I like the inking. Last year in my Christmas journals, I didn't do any ink. Well, I shouldn't say that. I inked, but I didn't use the vintage photo. I used red and green and colors like that. I didn't really want a vintage look for my Christmas ones. I wanted them a little bit brighter. But this paper kind of lends itself for the vintage photo, so we'll just do that. And I'm just going to go just around the edges to make sure that that white can't be seen. There we go. Okie dokie. So now, here's our insert. The black will come in more when we do around the edges. See if I can fix that zigzag. So now we just need to decorate this little tag. So I do have a few things I brought over. We'll see if any one of these will work. So she's cute, I don't mind her. That's not really the right color. He'd work as well. I think she's too blendy. And that one I just don't feel goes quite as good. So let's see. We have him. Or we have her. And I can't decide. I'm going to ink her up. I'm going to ink them both up and see what it looks like. Alrighty. I should just leave the lid off my ink. I want to keep this tag pretty flat because I want it to go into that envelope. So I don't want to do too much to it. I'm having issues with the outside of this tag. I think it's too dark. And it's too big. So we're gonna bring over the paper cutter and we're gonna trim some of that off now that I put it on. We're just going to trim just a shade off of each side. think I got it pretty even there. And I'm going to re-round those corners and see if I like that any better. It might even need just a little bit more. See if it fits in there now. Yes, it does. Now, which one do we want, though? I'm thinking that I like this boy. And possibly right there. Let's see what he looks like when we put him in the window. So if we put that tag in there, something's getting caught. Let me see. Okay, let's try this again. Slide that in there like that. And that's what you'd see. So I kind of like, I don't mind that. We could put it up more and just have Santa peeking out. What do you guys think? Maybe we should have it like that. All right, so we're gonna pull that out. And we want him just over to the side, just below Santa's head there. And I think I'm going to just stick just a little bit of glue there so we don't lose that spot. I don't want to glue them down completely right now because I may want to put something underneath it. Because I do have a few other things here for Christmas that we can look at. I have a few other little odds and ends. A lot of them are little repeats, but we'll see what we have. We could no, I don't go like that. We got a special delivery. We can do another special delivery down here, possibly. Oh, we have a Santa. The Santa's right there, though. What else can we do? I had somewhere, I had a little, where did it go? Oh, I had this. Possibly we can take this apart. These are just little gift tags I got from the dollar store, I think last Christmas. But we can maybe do something like that on the front, just to add some color to it. Possibly. Okay, we'll decide on that. Work on this tag. Work on the tag first. So I might just do it just simple like that. Just like that. Simple. It is flat. See if some of this washi, we could put a little bit of that washi there, add some, bring in some more of the gold tones, or I have this one. Okay, so I think I'm going to glue this special delivery down. It's just on copy weight paper. Let's get these out of the way here. So I'm just going to use my glue stick. I am going to just ink it up a little bit. on a decent amount of glue so that it sticks. And we're just going to stick it just underneath that photo like that. Okay, now I've got it. The glue stick has done its job. Can I get it off? There. This is on cardstock, and I don't think that the glue stick is going to hold it. So I'm going to use my tacky glue, and I am going to glue it down right to the edge so that it stays. All right, so get lots of glue on there. Again, I don't want the glue to seep out the edges, but I do want it to be to the edge. Oh, look at I had glue on that glue sheet. All right, so I'm just going to spread it out just a little bit so that it doesn't spread more so along the edges. Okay. And then we're going to line it up to where we had it before. Had a little bit of glue on there. Take that off. There. Now let's see if I have it in the right spot when we put them in. So he looks pretty cute there. I am going to have to be careful when I'm stitching. Okay, so I do want a tab along this edge. Not quite sure what I'm going to use. Let me see what I have over here. I do have some Christmas fabrics, so I could use this one. And I think I will because it's already cut. It's already cut and the right colors, but it does have a wonky edge, so I'm just going to trim that up a little bit, and then I'm going to try and fray it just a little bit. Doesn't have to be much, but just to rough it up a little bit on that one side. Okay, like I say, I am going to sew around here, so I am going to re-ink this because we cut it, and then I'm going to glue that on with the Fabri-Tac and let it dry for a minute while we stitch the other one together. Where's my Fabri-Tac? Over here. So I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue, and again, I don't have my glue book. Sheet. All right. Just need a little bit more glue. Now I do want to make sure that this dries a little bit before I put it through my machine. Flip it over, and we're going to do the same on the other side. Just to make a little tab there. Okay. All right. So we're gonna let that dry. While we're doing that, actually I won't let it dry there. I'll put it over here because we're gonna bring the sewing machine back in. And now we're gonna go around these edges. On this edge, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're staying close to the edge or we're not gonna have enough room for our tag. And we're just gonna back stitch a little bit here. Right down that edge. That's gonna catch your hinge in there as well. And remember, we're only gonna go the 3 sides. Sorry if I caught you, if I bumped you. Now, the sewing machine had a little glitch there, but I don't know about you. I like the sewing and the texture that it adds, so I'm not too upset about that. And I like the way the black has framed it out. So I'll just stick that tag in there, make sure it still fits. It is just a tad tight, but okay. So that's what it's gonna look like. We'll just bring in a page. This is your journal page. You can then glue it down like that. And I should have finished sewing that edge, but I didn't think about it. But that's how it'll work. So, while we're waiting for that tag to dry, we can decide if you want, this has a little bit of gold on it, to decorate this front a little bit more. We don't have to, we can just leave it like that. But we might want to, we might. This is just a little bit too gold though. I wonder if we ink it up just a little bit. Take some of that brassiness off. Cover Santa's head. What do you guys think? We put that on there or leave it off? I don't mind it. I wish I had another Christmas word here. I might have to find one. I don't have one currently, but I could find one. And I'm thinking I need something for that center. Possibly some more of the gold we brought in. Let me just go see what I have. Give me 1 second. Okay. I have some liquid pearls here. So we can use those. And I think I'm going to use the gold. I think I'm going to glue this down, and then I'm going to put liquid pearls here, and I'm going to put 3 liquid pearls up here. So I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac. So I'm just going to get a bunch of glue on there. Cover up Santa's face. Now, I really like using these liquid pearls, but they do take a long time to dry. So keep that in mind. If you're going to use them, you're going to want to give yourself time for them to dry. So just put 3 there, but actually I think I might go 5. I like odd numbers, so I tend to go 3 or 5. And then I'm going to put some in the center here to bring it down. Okay. And so that's what that looks like. I'll leave it like that. So I'm going to set this aside. That needs to dry. And we're going to quickly stitch this up. And then we should be pretty much done. So I'm just going to go around the edges. I'm going to do the same stitch I've been doing, which is the modified zigzag. I'm just going to make it just a little bit bigger. And I'm going to start on the tab. Okay, and that's done. Just going to clip off the strings. And there's our tag. So guys, that's it for today. Our pocket and tag made with my 2021 Christmas kit. It's available at Arjet Creations, and it'll be linked below. Thanks for joining me. Hope you have a great day.